So this is gonna be very different from my usual content, but I feel that it is important that I finally share this with you guys. I know a lot of you have questions, and I'm so grateful for all that you guys have done for me in my life. And I think that I know I don't owe anybody anything, but I think that I at least personally feel like I owe you guys a little bit of, just an explanation of what's been going on and where I've been and what's been going on. This is kind of a hard one for me. I've always been transparent with you guys on social media, specifically Instagram. I try to be as transparent as possible. But there's a really big part of my life that I have kept private and have kept out of the public eye. And it has gotten to a point where it's become, I no longer feel like I can hide it from you guys. So yeah, I guess here goes story time. And this is not one of my normal produced videos. This is just me in my backyard sharing, what's been going on with me, with you guys. So, yeah, okay. So as a lot of you know, I am sober. I got sober from drugs in 2017, and I got sober from alcohol again in 2020. So I just hit 5 years from all drugs and 2 years from alcohol again. So right after I got sober in 2017, I went on a trip with my ex and some friends. We were up in Arkansas, and we were at Pinnacle Mountain, and I decided that day would be a great day to free range rock climb with no equipment and no experience or training other than like rock climbing at a rock wall. Obviously not a very smart choice. So what ended up happening, my friend got to the top and I was right behind her, and when I went to push myself up onto the top, I shifted my weight onto my right foot, and the rock under my right foot broke and I fell 20 to 30 feet, somewhere in that range. I don't know the exact distance. It was like a very jutted, there were rocks jutting out of this cliff, and so they were hitting my shins and my legs and kind of flipping me, which did help break a little bit of the shock, but I did end up landing flat on my back, and I hit my head very hard, and I suffered at the time I literally stood up and was like, I'm fine, but I definitely had blacked out for a second, and I knew that I had a concussion, but I was not aware that I had a brain injury. I didn't really understand those things. I didn't understand what a concussion really was, or the fact that it was, or that any head trauma like that is a traumatic head injury, or a TBI, a traumatic brain injury. I just didn't know how that worked. So, essentially, I hit the back of my head very hard, and am very lucky to not have broken any bones. I really don't know how. The doctor said that they think that my dreads absorbed a lot of the shock. I had my hair down at the time, when I fell, and so they think that kept me from cracking my head open. So super grateful for that. It's my dog Hoka. But yeah, I suffered a major concussion, and at the time I kind of brushed off the whole experience. I didn't take it seriously at all, which was really goofy of me. I was just young and lighter out here. I was young and I had just gotten sober, and I had a lot going on at the time, and I guess I just didn't take it that seriously. And so yeah, I went to the hospital and did that. But sorry, there's so many mosquitoes. I'm trying to light this mosquito thing. But I didn't like follow up. I didn't go to a neurologist like I should have. I didn't get the MRIs that I should have gotten done. So anyways, after this event, and I'm trying to keep this kind of short, but it is definitely like a long, lengthy thing. So for the past 5 years after that event, I've struggled with something called panic disorder. So essentially, when I hit my head and my brain, I had brain swelling. I had micro tears in my brain tissue, and this created scar tissue in my brain. So my neurotransmitters had to create new pathways around scar tissue. So what that means essentially is that there's just a very large margin for error. And so my nervous system, I have something called dysautonomia. I don't know if I pronounced it right, but besides the point, I have a dysregulated nervous system from a brain injury. So what that means is that throughout the day, I get adrenaline surges over and over and over. Some people might refer to those, and sometimes I do call them that too, as panic attacks. But it's a little bit different in the sense that it comes from an injury to my brain, it's definitely enhanced by, like going through like emotional things and like emotions, but it didn't necessarily start from that. I think that part's a little unclear. We just know that, I have a brain injury and this is what started after. I'd only had a brief period of anxiety before I fell off the cliff ever, one time in my life. So it was pretty substantial that on the way to the hospital, I had my first panic attack again. So last 5 years, I've been dealing with that. I have been on a lot of different medications for it. I have, of course, exhausted all holistic options. Nothing worked. So I did turn to pharmaceuticals, and I tried a lot. And for the first, for the first 4 years, I found, some medications that did help, at least made it to where I was able to function. I was able to travel and able to continue living my life. And I had adrenaline surges and panic attacks still very often, every day at least, for most of those 4 years, but it was manageable. Well, this past April, my medication that I had been on was not really working anymore, which happens after a few years. And so it was time to try to find something new. And trying to like really give you guys all the information. These adrenaline surges or panic attacks are very, very physical for me because they are directly connected to my brain injury. So it's almost reminiscent of a seizure. I tremble, I shake uncontrollably, my jaw completely locks, I can't open my jaw, my body temperature cannot be regulated, my vision goes completely blurred, I get extremely dizzy. There's so many physical, like my throat will swell. There's just so many physical symptoms to this. So it makes it very debilitating. But so when we were looking for a new medication, my doctor decided to try something different, and they wanted to try an anticonvulsant, which is a seizure medication, because they thought, since my brain is essentially doing the same, it's misfiring in the same way that causes seizures, that maybe this would really help me. So they put me on an anticonvulsant or an epilepsy medication and beta blockers and an SNRI. So I was on 3 medications. That combination of medications made me very physically and mentally sick. So at the end of April and the beginning of May, I was very sick, very messed up. And another thing that I, don't really share publicly, but feel that I need to be transparent about since I'm making this video anyways, is that I have an eating disorder, which I know some of you probably have already concurred. I do see the comments. I do delete them, but I do see you guys comment on my dramatic up and down weight gain and loss. So I've, had an eating disorder for a long time. And sorry, the mosquitoes are literally eating me alive. So when I got sick from these medications, it kind of kicked off a surge in my eating disorder, because I was physically sick and couldn't really eat, which then starts this cycle of not eating and starving, which then makes me physically ill, to the point where I really couldn't even get up and move around, because I was so weak and malnourished. I'd lost about 20 pounds from May 1st to May 30th or 31st. I lost 20 pounds within a month. And it was a really rough month. I actually, the panic attacks and adrenaline surges got so bad from that medication mix that I was unable to leave my house. I could not leave my house. I had to put everything on hold, all of my work trips, all of my vacations for the summer, everything had to be on hold, which was really difficult for me, because if you followed me, you know that I'm a mover and a shaker. I travel for up until these last 3 months, I've traveled constantly and have led a very bright, big, loud life. And so this, I've been forced to just stop and pause and sit with this. And that has been really, really difficult for me. And so, the reason I kind of felt like I needed to make this video was because I've had a lot of you ask, have you retired? Where are the new scenes? Why haven't you been working? What's going on? And which is completely understandable, I love making content for you guys, but this summer I just was forced to take a break. I just physically was so ill from those medications. And so then, I had to get off those medications. So I had to detox off of those medications and then try another medication and hope that worked. Luckily, the medication I tried did help. I am nowhere near better, or 100%. I'm able to leave my house again, and I'm starting to kind of rebuild. It feels like I'm having to relearn how to live, how to be a functioning human. And I think it's just been really tough mentally because, I just lived this big life, and then all of a sudden it just came to a total halt. I just had to pause everything. I'm very career driven, and it's been very difficult to have to take a step back with work, and and I always feel like I'm letting you guys down, which I never want to do, because I'm so fucking grateful for the life that you guys have made possible for me, and even the fact that I've been able to take this break this summer. That's all thanks to you guys. I mean, so deeply, deeply, deeply grateful for that, and for just all the blessings that I have been given, and that you guys have given me or made possible. And so I just felt like I, wanted to share this with you guys. I am trying everything that I can to get back to where I need to be in order to be working and all of those things. I'm still seeing doctors and, seeing a neurologist and getting my MRIs done of my brain so that I can try to get some more answers as to really what exactly is going on and why I'm so treatment resistant. And I'm starting another new medication this week, and we're pretty hopeful about that. So at this point, the adrenaline surges are pretty constant throughout the day, but that's not really the issue is I'm having pretty severe dizziness, vertigo if you would, but it's more of a blurred vision. It's just vision impairment. And my ENT and my optometrists cannot figure out what it is. So it's which essentially means it's neurological, which sucks because that is a lot harder to figure out than astigmatism or, you know, an inner ear balance issue. So that wasn't really the news we were looking for. But and you know, I also currently have a my younger cousin that I'm close to and grew up very, very close to. She is battling leukemia, and it's been a really violent, rough journey for her. And so that has also been going on this summer as well, which of course has, you know, impacted me and my entire family deeply. And yeah, so it's just been one of those phases of life, one of the less fun ones. But I just wanted to come on here and, you know, just let you guys know what's going on. I think I've just been really embarrassed to share this, which might sound silly or stupid or whatever, but it's hard, you know, when you live this one way, you know, and publicly for everyone to see, and then all of a sudden overnight you're forced to live a completely different way. And you know, I just felt like I was like letting myself down, letting you guys down, and I just didn't want to accept what was going on. Like, I didn't want to accept that, like, I had to pause, you know, like I couldn't. I really struggled with that. And I think that I have waited too long to share this with you guys. You know, I do really try to be authentic about a lot of things on social media, but I always kept that and my eating disorder private, just because, you know, I don't really have a specific reason. I just don't think I was ready to talk about it. I just don't think I was ready to, like, dive into that and have that out there. I mean, you know, every part of my life is so broadcasted because of what I do and how I live and, you know, my job and the internet and social media. So I think it was like those are the two, you know, most or difficult things that I deal with, like, on a day-to-day basis. And I think I just felt like I wasn't ready for you guys to know that, you know. I wanted to keep up this facade that I was, you know, just this free spirit who could do whatever she wants. And you know, you guys ask me a lot, like, whenever I have questions and stuff on Instagram, like, how do you stay so positive? And I'm like, me? Why do y'all think that? You know, and I get, you know, it's Instagram. You only see the pictures that I post, but dude, life is rough. Life is so rough, and I am so grateful to have the support system that I do. You know, my family is so supportive. My girlfriend is supportive. My friends, even you guys, you know, like, I'm just so grateful that I have this space to deal with this and to go through this, and to still be able to support myself and to just have this amazing support system while I heal and while I try to get some answers. It's been a really rough summer. It's been really, really rough. Physically, I've felt very weak, and I've just had a lot of health issues and complications from all of this. Because as you guys know, your mind, body, spirit is all intertwined. And when one of those is severely thrown off, they're all thrown off. And so, you know, the constant high cortisol levels and adrenaline in my body makes me, you know, pretty sick, pretty exhausted. It's not how we're supposed to live. It's not normal. And it has a lot of adverse effects on me. And so it does make day-to-day life pretty difficult sometimes. So yeah, I guess I just wanted to share that with you guys and let you know I have not retired. I still love my job. I still want to make amazing content for you guys. I just needed a break. And I'm doing everything in my power to get back to doing that and being that creator for you guys. So I guess that's it. I know this was kind of long. If you stuck through the whole thing, I love you. Thank you for being here and for supporting my journey and just supporting me in general. It means more than you could ever imagine. And yeah, sending all my love always.